This topic is going to be so fun because I love relationships. One of the number one things I work on with my clients is relationships, how to make their relationship better, how to find their person, how to be in conscious union. And it's a really hot topic for so many people. And I want to talk to you today about karmic relationships and how you can know you're in one and how to break that cycle, how to get out of it if you find that this is a relationship that you're in. If you're new to me, my name is Donnell Davis, and I am a channel healer and transformational mentor who specializes in helping my clients heal forward so they can become their future self now to have that love, success, relationship that they want. Okay, so karmic relationships, what does that entail? I'm going to keep this really simple and to the point because I could go on and on about this. But when you're with somebody and you have a lot of things that you're working through, a lot of baggage, it seems that everything about the relationship brings up those triggers and that energetic charge you might feel when you're with them. Because truly, your soul and their soul decided that you guys were going to get together and do the work. And with karmic relationships, it doesn't always mean that you're going to be with this person for a lifetime. Typically, once the karma is done, the relationship is complete because there's nothing more to work through. You literally magnetized and came together to do this specific work. So, what is the work? The work is when you have wounds that are unconscious to you, and you're with this particular person that lights all these wounds up, that like literally knows exactly what to do to trigger these things within you. I'm going to give you an example to make this really real and grounded because I was in a karmic relationship for years, and I really, when I was in that relationship, I find with karmic relationships, there is a really big magnetism, almost this feeling of I have to be in this relationship for some reason. I'm not really sure why, but I feel like I have to be in this relationship. And I think sometimes it's the soul's knowing. The soul knows that there is some work to be done, but it may not feel that way initially. It may just feel like attraction, chemistry, all the different things, because of course you have to have that to get together. And when you get together with this person, initially, you may find that there is like some kind of mysterious, deeper knowing that maybe you've walked lifetimes with this person or that they seem oddly familiar to you. And I truly believe it's because you have walked through lifetimes with this person and you did agree to, on a soul contract perspective, to come to this lifetime and to help each other heal some specific wounds. The problem is we forget, and sometimes we get stuck in these relationships, and sometimes they can be very toxic, very, very toxic. Not all the time, but anyways. So that's the first thing to look for is kind of like what was the beginning of this relationship? Did you feel this kind of otherworldly, like you knew this person? And when you're in this relationship, there's going to be a familiarity to this person. They are going to be a match to familial patterns that you experienced. What does that look like? Well, for me, I had an alcoholic father. My former, the one that I had my karmic relationship with, was an alcoholic. So there's some sort of, and when you're in these situations, oftentimes you don't recognize it because you have blinders on, because the energy feels familiar to you. So it's hard sometimes until you get really adept at it to be like, wait a second, what's happening here? It's more that the person might feel really oddly familiar to you. And you're like, okay, because they're in that same energy and vibration, and they create like a feeling of a certain type of environment for you that you've done before. Okay, so and there's the karma is these deeper patterns that you've been working on from lifetime to lifetime if you believe in something like that. But if you just want to keep it to this lifetime, you have your early childhood trauma, You meet somebody that is the compilation of your trauma. They have some of the patterns of your mother, some of the patterns of your father, or maybe just one of the parents, but you're here to work through and work out what you weren't able to do as a child. So that's why it's very karmic because this person holds the exact personality traits and dynamics and characteristics to ignite your wounding. Now, I want to be clear about something. When you're in a relationship, you will be triggered because that's just part of life. And your job is to manage how you emotionally and energetically show up with your triggers. But in karmic relationships, it's heightened. There's an exclamation point to it. It's like, whoa, this feels oddly familiar. I feel like this is the same conversation I had with my mother, or this is how my dad used to treat me. That's what I want you to start to notice are those kinds of things. And the key with these relationships is, you guys, this is a really important thing because I want to save you time because I see this all, it happens all the time in my practice, is that when people are in these relationships, of course, the first things they want to do is like they want to, typically they'll either stay past the due date, that past the expiration point, or because they that connection is so big and it's so deep. They're like, but I'm going to keep putting up with this because I don't know, we have this really deep connection. So much of that deep connection could be trauma bonding. So if you don't know about trauma bonding, look up the term. I know with my former, we were definitely trauma bonding. I represented something for him, he represented something for me, and we just kept doing this dance. It was very unconscious until, I snapped out of it and was like, no more. But what I was going to say about it is that this is where I want to save you time, is that often you'll want to leave the relationship without doing the work. So whether you're with the person or you leave the person, you're still going to have to do the work. You attracted this person in. They are a teacher to you in some ways. And they're teaching you how to transmute and how to deal with the wounds that you have from your childhood and all the ways that you coped with them. Because here's the kicker, is that when you're a kid, you couldn't do anything about this wounding. But as an adult in this relationship, you can behave differently. So maybe if you were a kid, you didn't have boundaries, you weren't able to speak your truth, you weren't able to show up. So in this relationship, you get to do that. And that's what's karmic about it, is you're healing your karma, you're healing your wounding. So when you come into alignment and you realize, oh, maybe this was a karmic relationship, you might ask yourself on a deeper level, what do I need to do in order to heal this so I don't keep repeating this over and over again? That's the key, because you might feel like, oh gosh, I've done this before. I've been in this type of relationship. I keep attracting in these kind of people. It's because your wound is attracting those people in, and you maybe haven't done the work on a deeper level to change it. So in these karmic relationships, I just want you to remember you have to do the work. We always have to do the work to heal, whether you leave them and you're doing it on your own, or you're trying to work through it while you're with them and then eventually you leave, because maybe sometimes there might be some longevity to these types of relationships for certain reasons, but typically with karmic relationships, you're with them to work through certain things. And then when you're done, there is that feeling of like, okay, we completed this. Now the key is being discerning and knowing when it's done. Because really, what you want is a divine union partnership, like a really beautiful, conscious partnership where you're not working out a ton of karma, where you actually get to lean into your purpose and focus on other things and grow through love, right? Not just through trauma bonding or through karmic patterns and ancestral stuff. It is really helpful to have these karmic relationships to work things out. But I think it's because if you do it, you're doing it in honor and reverence of knowing I'm healing my wounds, but it may not be the type of relationship that is going to allow you to grow to your fullest. So I'll do another video next time about conscious partnerships. But just to recap, karmic relationships, there for a reason, there to teach you, but not necessarily always the easiest one to stay in for longevity. And the way that you really can break the cycle is to heal, is to see, what is this relationship bringing up over and over again? Where might I be betraying or abandoning myself? Where might I show up more fully? What is this person reflecting back to me? Because if you're with a person, that means there's an energetic dance and there's something that you're complicit in. So it's not about blaming the other person and being like, well, it's their fault that I'm going through all this trauma bonding. It's their fault that I'm dealing with all this. If you do that, you were the victim. Okay. So this is really more looking at, if my soul is so wise and attracts in every single person in my life for some shape, some shape, form, reason, what is that? And if you're coming from your wounding, it's to realize that your wound wants to be healed and that you want to evolve and you want to be in a relationship space where you can be free to fully love without having to always work through like the heavy, heavy. That's what I like to call it. If you're someone who is in a relationship space and you want to go deeper and you want to have me channel for you and tell you what type of relationship space you're in or what patterns are blocking you, reach out to me. I do channeled healing sessions. If you go to the link in my bio, you can see that I have a new client channel session that is discounted. Would love to connect with you on that. And as well, like and subscribe. If you know a friend would benefit from this video, please share it with them, subscribe to my channel, and I hope you have a beautiful day and I'll see you guys soon. Take care.